Okay, part two on how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And like I said, part two would revolve around me basic explaining these two types of cards right here. Okay, so I finally figured out how these cards function. So this one is the more simple of the two. So basically, you see how there's these two red triangles right here, right? And you notice how it says it needs two water monsters to summon. So basically, the way a link monster works is whatever its link number is. You see, this one's a link number 2. That means you need to sacrifice two monsters to summon it, or two of what are specific kind of monsters to summon it. So yeah, it's pretty basic. Honestly, it's a lot more simple than I thought it would be. Okay, next, and apparently also I was apparently pronouncing this wrong. It's a pendulum summon. So the way the pendulum summon works is, well, you see how one side is blue, one side is red, right? The red side represents a monster card. The blue side represents a spell card. Because apparently, basically in the simplest way possible, these are both a spell card and a trap card at the same time. You see, let's see. Yeah, like this right here being kind of like a spell, and then this being like the basic monster effect. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, and like I said before, there are 5 spell zones and 5 monster zones. And so if you want to use if you have a pendulum summon card in your deck with the required conditions, because different cards have different conditions, it's a whole thing. But point is, if you have a card that looks like this, a pendulum summon, then you can use it as either a spell. Then you can put it in the spell zone and use the spell half of it, or you can put it in the monster zone and use it as a basic monster. Yeah, so that's basically how it works. It's a spell card and a monster card at once. Honestly, which, to be honest, if you ask me, that's a pretty dumb idea. But hey, that's not what this video is. That's not what this video is for. This is just a simple tutorial on how to play the game. And oh, also, I did say I would explain the rarities, so I will do that now. I will explain the rarities. Also, part 3 of this series, after I'm done explaining the rarities in a few seconds, um, part 3 is actually gonna be really exciting. Because while I don't have a real opponent, for part 3, I have built another deck, and I will basically do a mock duel to sort of demonstrate what these kinds of things will look like in an actual duel. Oh, and if you're wondering why I'm saying duel, because in a lot of other card games it's called like a battle or a match, whatever. But in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's called a duel. Matter of fact, in the anime, you get the point. The anime canon lore refers to the game as duel monsters, but of course the main character of the anime being Yugi, the actual franchise is called Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, the reason it has an O at the end is because in the show when yeah, you know what? I'm not even gonna get into that. I'd have to explain the whole lore. That could be a different video. But yeah, I'm gonna explain the rarities now. Let me get one. Let me get one card of each rarity real quick. Hold on. Okay, so for explaining the rarities, I'm only gonna explain like the basic simple rarities, like the 5 main basic rarities. Okay, and I'm gonna show you how to detect if any of your Yu-Gi-Oh cards are any of these rarities. Okay, so first up is a basic common. You see right here, like there's nothing shiny on it at all. It's just really, it just looks basic. It's a basic common. This is a basic rare, and as you can see, unlike the common, the rare, the name is shiny, but that's about it. Yeah, that's about it for rares. The name becomes shiny. Okay, this is a super rare. Okay, I might be mistaken. Okay, I might be mistaken. That might be a super rare. This might be a rare. Okay, but you get the point. But yeah, the super rare is when it's shiny in the picture, but not shiny anywhere else. That's okay. And this is an ultra rare. As you can see with the ultra rare, both the name and the picture are holographic. Okay, this is a secret rare. Yeah, and there's a bunch of other rarities too, like ghost rares and all that kind of stuff. But like, I'm explaining but this is just the 5 core basic rarities. As you can see, oh wait, hold on, let me try to reflect it in the right way, so you guys can actually see it. Okay, yeah, you see how it's kind of, you can see like kind of like how it's got the traits of an ultra rare, but like the way it shines in the picture is like got like these lines and stuff in it, similar to the line holographics in Pokemon. But yeah, this is a secret rare, and now I'm gonna explain first editions and what that means. So, hold on, okay, so with this super rare, as you can see, there's a stamp on the bottom that says first edition. You might think that means it's like super rare and like hard to find, but it's not like Pokemon where a first edition is something that's really expensive and hard to find. Matter of fact, in Yu-Gi-Oh, first editions are actually quite common. Because really, all a first edition means in any card game is that the first edition copy of the card was part of the first print run of like the first time the factory did and started printing these cards, like that first print run. If one of your Yu-Gi-Oh cards was made during that first print run, then it would have this first edition stamp on it. Once they start the second print run right after that, like they get rid of the first edition stamp. But yeah, that's why it's called first edition. First print run, the first edition of the card. Yeah. So, and you might think that still would make it rare since it's one of the first copies of the card made, right? Well, not exactly, because unlike other card games from the 90s, well, like Pokemon in the 90s, unlike, so with Pokemon cards, it's like they did, like the first print runs like lasted for a very short time. But with Yu-Gi-Oh, the first print run, like they make like thousands and thousands of copies of these. They make like hundreds and thousands of copies of each card during the first print run for a set. So like yeah, so like first edition cards in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's not all that rare. Okay, and yeah. So that's it. Commons, rares, super rares, ultra rares, secret rares, the basic core. Oh wait, other than first edition. Oh wait, also some cards will say they're from 1996, but it won't actually be from 1996. Let me grab some cards to show you that real quick. Okay, so here's some cards to show you the differences between cards in the 90s. Okay, so this card right here. Here's a card that says it's from 1996, and it even has the first edition logo, but like this is like here's the matter of fact, Yu-Gi-Oh they didn't start making Yu-Gi-Oh cards in English in America until 2002. So if any of your Yu-Gi-Oh cards are English, are written in English, then they were not made in 1996 at all. Yu-Gi-Oh first came out in Japan. They're like the anime and stuff like that came out in 1996, but like I don't know. I mean, but then again, though, the year isn't really trying to represent what year the card was actually made. It's really trying to show you like what year, like the artwork, like what year the artwork was made, or what year the card was used in like the anime or whatever. You get the point of what I'm saying. But yeah, and as you can see, yeah. But either way, though, there's a way to actually. Either way, it can't be it won't be from 1996 if it is written in English, but it can be from 2002. Okay, so for example, this card says it's from 1996. Kazuki Takahashi, the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah. So, but this is not even from 2002. And I'm gonna compare it to a card that's actually from the very first year of English Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Okay, so here's the thing. Here are 2 cards that are actually from that time. And here's the thing. And one of the core differences is that oftentimes you'll see there's a difference in color. Like a card that actually came out in 2002 will often be darker than a modern card. However, though, but then you might be wondering, what about this card? Like, so it's not about the different colors, but if a card that says it's from 1996 is darker color than another card that says 1996, the darker color one is more likely an authentic retro Yu-Gi-Oh card. And I brought this just to show you that it's not all about colors. You see, like you can obviously tell with like the way it's like the color, the texture, and all that kind of stuff. You can tell that this is an authentic 2002 Yu-Gi-Oh card. Along with that one, this is a phony. That's not from the 2000s or the 90s. And then I'm gonna show you something with first editions in the 2000s and 90s. Okay, okay, so this one, as you can see, it says it's from the 2000s. Well, I mean, this could be from the 2000s, but it might just not be from the first year. But yeah. And as you can see, the first edition logo is down here, which you've seen on other cards before. However, another good way to tell if it's really from the year 2002 or 1996 is where the first edition logo is printed. You see on this card, this one not only has that darker texture, that darker and more retro aesthetic and texture, but you can see the first edition logo is up here instead of on the bottom. If it has this darker texture, if it has this darker texture and stuff like I just explained, and the first edition logo is up here, if it is a first edition, then that means it is in fact an authentic, original 90s or 2002 Yu-Gi-Oh card, just like this one right here. Yeah. And you might be wondering, like, how would I have such cards? Even if the first edition doesn't mean anything special, if it's first edition and from the very first years of Yu-Gi-Oh, it's still got to be worth something. Well, not exactly, because unlike Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards aren't really valued based. They're not really valued based on like. Because they're not really valued based on like what year they came out and like if print errors and stuff like that. They're not really valued based on that kind of stuff like you would see with older Pokemon cards. But with Yu-Gi-Oh cards, how much money it's worth, is really valued on because unlike other card games, Yu-Gi-Oh actually sticks with the rarity of how rare it would be to pull it from a pack. Oh, and also, if you notice, with first edition cards, you'll see that they have this gold stamp on the bottom. Cards that aren't first edition will have the silver stamp. So that's another useful tip for rarity and collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So also, because unlike other card games, Yu-Gi-Oh, how much a Yu-Gi-Oh card is worth will depend on a couple of different factors. One of the core factors in which determines a Yu-Gi-Oh card's value is how many copies of the card were made, is like how rare it was to pull it, is whether it was in circulation or not, or how rare it is to pull it from a pack. And also like that the rarities up to too. So, for example, if you you see this card like this is a basic rare, right? So if this card, so like for example, like the ghost rares that I explained earlier. So the ghost rares were only printed for a very limited amount of time, and they were the rarest cards to pull out of from packs out of the set that they came in. And those ghost rares just so happen to be some of the rarest copies of those specific monster cards. You see what I'm saying? So like that's that's kind of how the amount of money a Yu-Gi-Oh card is worth is determined. So I just explained how pendulum summoning, and I just explained how link summoning and pendulum summoning works, and I explained everything that I know about the rarities of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So that's gonna end it for today's video. Bye.